Even though I try, I can't let go. This your boy Becca Joe with another one. Shouts out to the Lions Den basketball community. Give the video a like, hit the subscribe, and the bell when I go live. I need 97 you guys out there that's watching this video to hit the subscribe button. Please help me to get over 1,000. And for the 903 people that subscribe to my channel, I really do appreciate y'all. You know, yeah, I put out this content, but if it weren't for you guys liking the video, subscribing to the channel, you know, if it weren't for my brother taking me under his wing, showing me some things and all that, my channel would not be where it is today. So for the 900 subscribers and my brother Ticket, I really do thank y'all, and I really do appreciate y'all. And now let's get me home. Let's get me to 1,000. All right. Now, let's talk about this. So an article came out last night where Phil Jackson can't let go of the past, blame Carmelo Anthony for his failed stint as president of basketball operations for the New York Knicks, right? So I'm gonna pull up this article and then we're gonna read it and we're gonna get into it, right? Because there's some things that Phil Jackson conveniently left out when it comes to Carmelo Anthony and why he failed as the dang on president of basketball operations, right? Article from Clutch Points. All right, up to clutchpoints.com. Let me see. All this spam. So this article said Carmelo Anthony he is one of the most lethal scorers in his prime, racking up 925 point per game seasons across his two-decade career. His most prolific scoring campaign was during the 2012-2013 season for the New York Knicks. Despite Melo's undeniable ability to get buckets, the former Knicks president didn't think he had the makeup of a traditional leader. The 2007 Hall of Fame inductee revealed his brutally honest take on his former player during an interview with Curious Leader podcast. So the Curious Leader podcast is headed by Kobe Call. Now, Kobe Call is the son of George Call, okay? So this is what Phil Jackson said. Carmelo, I think, wanted to be a leader, but I don't think he completely knew how to be a leader as a player. And he think that the strength of his personality was intimidating to some of the coaches that were asked to coach the team. And so there wasn't this compliance that has to happen between players and coaches. As much as he tried to interject his own beliefs, he don't think he was close enough in the ground in that situation to be really effective in dictating how things are going to be done. Okay, so first of all, I don't like that word compliance, right? Because that right there sends some kind of hidden message that he should be controlled. So what the hell is this compliance stuff, right? Yes, there has to be a working relationship between players and coaches, right? There cannot be no animosity between players and coaches, right? There has to be some kind of chemistry there for it to work. But to sit up there and say compliance, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by compliance? Because if it weren't for the players, the coaches would be fired, right? Conversely, if it weren't for the Michael Jordans and the Kobe Bryants of the world and the Shaquille O'Neals of the world, Phil Jackson wouldn't be where he's at. People wouldn't be hailing Phil Jackson as one of the greatest coaches of all time, because he is one of the greatest coaches of all time, if not the greatest coach of all time. But as an exec, not good as an exec. He's terrible as an executive. Why he can't just come to the conclusion that while he was an awesome head coach, he was terrible as an exec? That's the truth of the matter. It has nothing to do with Carmelo Anthony, because before Phil Jackson got there, right? And I'm gonna point this out later on, but I just want to throw it out there as a teaser. because before Phil Jackson got there, the Knicks were going to the playoffs under Carmelo Anthony. Matter of fact, they had 3 straight seasons where the Knicks were going to the playoffs under Carmelo Anthony, including the 54-win season they had under Mike Woodson. So what the hell Phil Jackson's talking about, right? What up, Ghost Town? I agree with that. Right? Let's tell the truth now. Let's tell the truth. Phil Jackson's trying to, point blame and point fingers at Carmelo Anthony, but the truth of the matter is, while he was a good coach, he was not good as an executive, right? Just because you know how to bake a cake, don't qualify you to be a baker, right? Anthony's time in the Big Apple was certainly tumultuous, but with multiple bust-ups of teammates and coaches alike, the biggest knock on the former All-Star's time of the team was the lack of postseason success. The Knicks managed just 3 playoff appearances throughout Melo's tenure. At the Garden, back-to-back first-round exits in 2011-2012, and a second-round exit in 2013. So the second-round exit in 2013 was to the Indiana Pacers. Now, this lack of success, as well as some personality clashes, led Jackson to explore trades. However, a no-trade clause in Anthony's contract made it basically impossible and harmed New York's flexibility. No, because my thing is, when you got a talent in Carmelo Anthony's talent, you're supposed to build around that talent, right? Ain't that what we always say, right? You use what you got and you maximize what you have, right? What's up, New Aces? So for Phil Jackson to come out running his mouth about Carmelo Anthony, I can't rock with that. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. The truth of the matter is, Phil Jackson was a horrible executive, and he's made some bad moves along the way, right? So if we go to this article here, 7 moves that doom Phil Jackson. 7 Phil Jackson moves that doom Carmelo Anthony's career, right? First thing, hiring Derek Fisher, right? Because remember, when he got in there, what's the one thing he wanted to implement? That triangle offense, right? He wanted to bring in players that was going to carry out his vision of the triangle offense, right? So Derek Fisher, right? Now, during Derek Fisher's time as the head coach of the New York Knicks, he had his thing with Matt Barnes and his. So there was a love triangle going on between Matt Barnes and his wife, right? Where Derek Fisher calls himself slipping something in Matt Barnes' ex-wife, right? But on top of that, Derek Fisher never coached a game in the NBA, right? 40 and 96 was his tenure, right? And then they traded away Tyson Chandler and Raymond Felton. The Dallas Mavericks trade Jose Calderon, Samuel Dalembert, Shane Larkin, and others, right? Now, this was a time where they needed a point guard, but Jose Calderon was not the answer they were looking for, right? He sucked. He completely sucked. And then they traded away Tyson Chandler. And why would you trade away Tyson Chandler? A rim protector, a guy that can go out there, get rebounds, do all the dirty work on the interior, right? Next move he did, they traded Amon Sharp and J.R. Smith. Cavaliers deal Lou Edmondson, Alex Kirk, a 2019 second rounder, OKC Thunder trade Lance Thomas, right? Now, this was the trade that sent Dion Waiters to the Thunder, because at one point, Dion Waiters was drafted number 4 overall out of Syracuse by the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I remember this night because I was playing FanDuel that night, and I had Dion Waiters in my lineup, but for whatever, there was a game they were playing Philadelphia 76ers, right? So all of a sudden, Dion Waiters was a healthy scratch. And the lineup, all right, like I couldn't take Dion Waiters out my lineup, and it turned out that Dion Waiters was traded from the Cleveland Cavaliers to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Needless to say, I was fucking pissed. Right? So, but J.R. Smith, he loved playing with Melo. He turned to a vital cog on Cleveland's championship team. Would Jackson get back for Smith and Shumpert? Next to nothing aside from cap space. Next move. Knicks trade Tim Hardaway Jr. Atlanta trades Jerry and Grant in a 3-team deal. Another attempt to find a young point guard that failed. No one except the Hawks knew at the time that Hardaway would develop into a terrific bench scorer, right? Next move, they trade Jose Calderon, Grant, and Robert Lopez to the Chicago Bulls for Derrick Rose, Justin Holiday, and a second-round pick. Now, mind you, Derrick Rose came off several injuries at this point, right? It was low risk. It was a low risk, high reward gamble that, for all intents and purposes, didn't really pan out, right? Now, Derrick Rose still a hell of a player. Now, don't get me wrong, right? But for whatever reason, it just didn't work. Then they signed Jim Canoa to a 4-year, $72 million deal, right? Now, this was on the heels of that big-ass TV deal that ESPN and TNT put out to air basketball content on their network. And players wanted a piece of that money, right? That's where you got the guys like Timothy Mozgov that's getting $60 million. And then you had guy dang on Luol Deng getting $72 million. And it just insane contracts, right? $72 million, right? Now, don't get me wrong, Joakim Noah is a good player, right? But he's not a $72 million type player. Right? Now, this one right here, I don't agree with, right? Because look, when you're the linchpin on the team, right? And you're the glue that holds everything together. Look, Carmelo Anthony deserved the 5-year, $124 million contract, and yes, he deserves the right to have a no-trade clause. Because remember, before Melo even got there, right, they had a nice team with a nice bench. They had Amari Stoudemire, they had guys like Danilo Gallinari, all those guys, right? They had a deep-ass team. And they practically, emptied the clip for Carmelo Anthony. So you couldn't just re-sign him and not give him a no-trade clause, right? Look, for all intents and purposes, Phil Jackson did not do right by Carmelo Anthony because he never liked Carmelo Anthony. He made it known that he would never like Carmelo Anthony. That's why he did all this bullshit, right? But see, I find it funny how a lot of people in the media don't really talk about that. Or they can really leave out the fact that Phil Jackson never liked Carmelo Anthony. He's made comments about Carmelo Anthony before he even got to the Knicks, right? So there was always this inherent negative bias towards Carmelo Anthony before he even became president of the New York Knicks, right? No different than what Mike D'Antoni did when he was in Houston, right? Because Mike D'Antoni walked in and was like, hey, look, it's either him or me, right? So when Carmelo Anthony got to the Houston Rockets, Mike D'Antoni already had this negative bias towards Carmelo Anthony, and despite the fact Carmelo Anthony was balling in the goddamn preseason, he puts him on the bench for James Ennis. And then they try to say that, well, it just didn't work out between the organization of Carmelo Anthony. And 10 games into the season, that's when Daryl Morey cut ties with Melo. And Melo was basically out of the league for all intents and purposes until the Portland Trail Blazers and Damian Lillard reached their hand out, and that's when Melo went and signed with them. Right? So this whole notion that Carmelo Anthony was single-handedly the reason why the Knicks wasn't winning under Phil Jackson, that's total bullshit. It's total, raw, unadulterated bullshit. Right? But don't worry, though, when the media, puts out lies and they sit up here and, want to sit up here and revise history, don't worry. I line things back in its proper perspective. Right? That's what I do on my channel. That's what I do on my channel. When these media out here putting out these propaganda pieces, all that, they want to sit up here and revise history and misconstrue facts and put out misleading information regarding statistics and all that, right? That's where I come in and put things in the proper perspective, right? Now, we go to another article, right? Because whenever I talk on my channel, right, I like to provide evidence. I don't want to just shoot from the hip. I want to provide evidence so that way can nobody refute what I'm saying. You can't refute what I'm saying, right? Look at that. Another article, right? Carmelo Anthony comes out. Hey, Phil Jackson willing to trade him for a bag of chips. Now, why is that? Oh, I know why that is. Because, like I said before, Phil Jackson never liked Carmelo Anthony. He didn't like him when he was on all those Olympic teams. He didn't like him when he was in Syracuse. He just never liked Carmelo Anthony. That's why he said this, he put out this stuff in a way where, if you really think about it, it sounds like dog whistles almost, right? Now, this is when Carmelo Anthony was on OKC, which he was misusing OKC, right? You're asking this guy who was the number one option on the New York Knicks to be a number 3 option on the Oklahoma City Thunder alongside Paul George and Russell Westbrook, right? Russell Westbrook and Paul George were teammates for nearly 3 months before Carmelo Anthony finally blessed the capital of Oklahoma as a destination worthy of waiving his no-trade clause. The mere opportunity to team up with Westbrook and George and form a potential super team, as they know it in the modern NBA, wasn't enough for immediate acceptance. Nor was the secret weapon recruiting presence of the Thunder assistant general manager Troy Weaver, who helped Anthony land at Syracuse University as a teenager. So in the interview with the New York Times during the break for preparation for his Thunder debut, Anthony revealed that he needed one more nudge before telling the Knicks that he was prepared to be traded to OKC. He said that his son wanted him to play for OKC, and even before OKC was in the picture. Now, Anthony probably told that story after practice, lounging on a comfortable courtside bench while watching his son Carmelo Anthony, who was 10 at the time, work on his one-on-one moves against some Thunder staffers and for a few minutes, even Westbrook himself. Now, Anthony will start a power forward for the Thunder and is likely to line up against the Knicks' new face of the franchise, Kristaps Porzingis, in a nationally televised game. So at that time, when Carmelo Anthony went to the OKC Thunder, his first game was against his former team, and they had them matched up against Kristaps Porzingis. Now, Carmelo Anthony's like 6'7", 6'6", or something like that, right? But Kristaps Porzingis is 7'3". So how is that matchup going to work, right? Anyway, he said the nagging sense that Phil Jackson, who was then the Knicks president, was forcing him out and gradually snuffed out his devotion to the franchise. When he signed back with the Knicks, he wanted to be in New York and he believed in Phil, adding the reference to the $125 million contract with the no trade clause that he agreed to with Phil Jackson in July 2014. That's the deal that kept him from leaving as a free agent. Then the last year it went to he was being pushed out. There were things that being said about him that he didn't know that were coming from, and he still had to go in the gym and practice and play and deal with the media, answer all those questions every day. Asked how many times he and Jackson spoke face to face, he said maybe twice. He also goes on to say that there was no support from the organization. When you feel like you're on your own, on top like that, you feel like you're being pushed out. His voice trailed off. His implication was clear. Anthony's long-held determination to outlast Jackson in New York had eroded, and even after Jackson's departure from the Knicks in late June, he no longer wanted to stick around. He said that he was far too gone, that he already had in his mind that he wanted to win, that he wanted to move on, and he didn't think it would take as long as it did, but his mind was already made up. Now, the deal to find a workable trade, in Anthony's views, stemmed from the fact that Jackson was willing to trade him for a bag of chips, while Scott Perry, who became the Knicks general manager after Jackson's departure, took a harder line in trade talks while Houston and Cleveland eventually fizzled. Now, Carmelo Anthony went from asking for peanuts to asking for steak. Now, it was easy for Anthony to laugh because the deal did ultimately take shape with the Thunder, one that puts him on the most talented team that he's ever been a part of, arguably. And this talks about, it goes on to talk about Melo's tenure at OKC. But this is my thing, right? Phil Jackson, the truth is, Phil Jackson was completely wrong for what he said. And I just laid out evidence of why Phil Jackson was completely wrong in what he said. He was completely out of line. Carmelo Anthony was not the reason why the Knicks struggled. It was because, truth be told, it was Phil Jackson's decision making that that led to the Knicks falling off the cliff the way they did. The Knicks never made the playoffs under Phil Jackson. And I remember when Phil Jackson first got there, they was hailing him as the savior and all that. You had critics and basketball pundits alike coming out saying that Phil Jackson was going to turn this team around. He turned them around all right, just in the wrong direction. And for 7 years after the fact, Phil Jackson still can't hold on to the fact that he was the reason why the Knicks struggled all those years. When Melo's problem, when Melo's fault, he tried to actually commit himself to Phil Jackson, because if Melo didn't want to commit himself to Phil Jackson, he wouldn't have signed that 5-year, $124 million deal with the no trade clause. If he didn't believe in Phil, if he didn't believe in Phil's vision. Because in Carmelo Anthony's eyes, Phil Jackson is a proven winner, right? He's won 11 NBA championships. Right? So if Carmelo Anthony didn't believe in Phil Jackson, why would he sign that extension with the no trade clause? Right? Now I'm putting a link in the chat room, and then you guys can come in for a little bit. We'll talk about it a little bit. I got stuff to do today, so I'm not going to be on here too much. I'm not going to be as long as I was all day yesterday. But you guys want to come in for a little bit, tell me what you guys think about this dynamic with Phil Jackson and Carmelo Anthony, then this is your time to come in and talk about it. And remember, when you come in, we just talk about this specific topic right here. We're not talking about LeBron. We're not talking about Jordan. We're not talking about Kobe Bryant. We stay on this topic. So there we go. All right, here we go. What's up?
Hey, yeah, hey, LB, LeBron and Jordan.
Come on now. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm not in the mood for that today. I'm not in the mood for that today.
How you doing, man?
Chilling, bro.
Look, man. First off, salute to you. Okay. And a lot of people probably don't know this, but I'm fitting to tell you from the jump. Look, Carmelo Anthony was my favorite player, along with D Wade. You know, before what's his name, Russell Westbrook. You know, before he arrived and everything. So let's just get that out and put the mustard on that real quick. Now, uh, Phil Jackson was wrong as hell, and the fact that even though he got 11 rings and he's accomplished and everything like that, you were right. He was responsible for the detriment and the downfall. Well, part of the reason, along with Dolan, for the downfall of the New York Knicks. Okay, now this is the thing that gets me. You try to implement a triangle system, and knowing damn well you don't have the personnel during that time to do it, and you don't even have the people that even teach them right, besides Derek Fisher, who really wasn't even focused on stuff at that time, anyways. And he was focused on getting in some punani and all this other stuff, messing with people's wives and stuff. And then you got Carmelo doing everything that he can, try to chop off on weight and try to run the system, and also even commit himself to even learning the triangle. It's a fact. He even he said it on an interview with JJ Reddick, LB. He said that he was studying the triangle so much he even had to go to Kobe Bryant and ask him questions to try to get the triangle down. But my point is, LB, is that Carmelo was really committed to try to make things work over there after signing that deal, like you said, with the no clause or whatever. So, man, he was dead wrong. Phil is dead wrong, and he shouldn't be criticizing anything. He shouldn't be criticizing anything. And if you felt that strongly, you should have just stepped down on the floor and just coach, even though you was having health problems. But I mean, my goodness, man, you sitting up there criticizing everybody. Yeah, we know you got 11 rings, but man, don't act like Carmelo wasn't being a factor. Don't act like, oh, you just now brought in Porzingis, and then you want to try to sideswipe him and try to make him the player. You see what happened to Porzingis once things didn't go good with him and his health was being a detriment. You know what I'm saying? So let's not act like this organization has given Carmelo to put Carmelo in the best situation, and Phil has been so great to him. Phil need to shut the hell up, man.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. So, all right, so I'm gonna pull up another screen, right? Because I like providing evidence, right? So
Yeah, you
nobody
do.
can just say I just pulling stuff out of my butt.
Yeah, what you say, L? Order in the court, goddamn it.
Yeah, you can't refute what I'm saying, right? You can't. Now, Phil Jackson, for his tenure, let me see. Phil Jackson tenure with the Knicks.
Mm.
So he was there he left in 2017.
Right,
He got there in around 2014, right?
right.
So these were his draft picks, right? In the 3 years that he was there. Thanasis Antetokounmpo, right?
Hmm.
Clee Anthony Early. His best
Yep.
pick was Kristaps Porzingis, right? And then you got
Right.
Arjun and Jeremiah, Damian Dawson, and Frank Ntilikina, the guy they drafted number 8 overall from France.
From France.
Those were Phil Jackson's picks. Those were Phil Jackson's draft picks. How the hell are you supposed to do anything with draft picks like that? The only guy you really
Right.
had was Kristaps Porzingis. And then, even during the time they was drafting Kristaps Porzingis, there was questions about him.
Right. And coming out, not to cut you off, L, but coming out, people had. I'm gonna be real with you. When Early came out of Wichita, people actually thought that he had more promise than most of the guys that you mentioned, because he had such a good college showing. But you see what happened though. But I
Yeah, he
just want
didn't
to throw
pan
that in.
out. He didn't pan out. And yes, you're right about that. When he played his college ball at Wichita State, there was hype around Clee Anthony early. Especially, what the hell are you doing?
Oh man, I'm just starting to get my day started, man. My bad. Calm down,
Oh,
bro.
yeah, I gotta mute your mic, bro. So when Clee Anthony early, you're right about that, Polo. When Clee Anthony early was playing his college ball at Wichita State, there was hype around him. There was promise that he was going to go to the Knicks and he was going to, be that missing piece, right? It just didn't work out.
Right.
It just did not work out. But all these other clowns like Frank Ntilikina and Damian Dotson and Onion Jeremiah's, I mean, these guys, the Thanasis Antetokounmpo, I was like, really, really, Phil Jackson. But he blamed Carmelo Anthony for why the Knicks were sucking all those years. So we just laid out the evidence. Horrible draft picks, swing and misses in trades, right? And unwillingness to work with Carmelo Anthony because he already had a negative bias towards him way before he even got there. But Phil
Right.
Jackson blamed Carmelo Anthony for why the Knicks struggled, despite the fact that before Phil Jackson even got to the Knicks, the Knicks made the playoffs 3 straight years, including a 54-win season under Mike Woodson.
Damn
So remember
shame
when
what they
Phil
did to
Jackson
Mike
got there?
Woodson.
When Phil Jackson got there, he fired Mike Woodson and brought in, who was the first coach he brought in? I think it was Derek Fisher.
Derek Fisher ass. Because that's what he wanted, somebody to run the triangle, and then he brought a whole new staff. I think even Kurt Rambis was amongst the staff, wasn't he?
Yeah, Kurt Rambis was one of his lackeys and all that.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. A lot of people gonna disagree with me. I like Kurt Rambis, but he shouldn't be that high up in terms of coaching or whatever. But
Okay,
Kurt,
so let me address this dude in the comment section talking about Melo defense. All right, so hold on. When you
oh
talk
my
about Carmelo
God.
Anthony's defense, when he was out there dropping 30 and 40 points on cats, right? Was you talking about Carmelo Anthony's defense back then? So if you want to talk about Carmelo Anthony's defense back then, you can't bring it up now.
And then here's another thing to add to that ether, LB. What do you think all of the players said about Carmelo Anthony on the USA Olympic team? They said Melo was that guy on that squad. Without Melo, they wouldn't have won it. And Melo was playing both ends of the floor. Krzyzewski said that. Kobe said that. Everybody that was on that squad. So I'm sick of people saying that Melo don't give no effort on D.
All
He
right,
was
so
playing out of position too. He played power forward, yeah.
Yeah, no. All right. So for all these guys that was running around here talking about Carmelo Anthony defense, right? Right? Let's pull up. Let's look at the evidence, right? Everybody, well, Carmelo Anthony defense was terrible, right? DMJC was an all-star, right? When he went to the Knicks. All right, so the first year, so he had a 111 defensive rating, not good. 102 defensive rating, pretty average, right? 108, 108. 110, 107, 113. So yeah, he was pretty mediocre defensively, right? But for all the people now, for all you people that's running around here talking about, well, the same thing we get on James Harden about, right? But y'all want gloss over the fact that James Harden don't play no defense, right? But you can't gloss over James Harden not playing defense and turn around and say, well, Melo don't play no defense, right? Let's look at his scoring averages, right? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So for 16 years, he's averaged at least 20 a game. For 16 straight years, he's averaged 20 a game. His career averages is 23.7, 6.5 rebounds. He's passed over 27,000 career points. He did that last week, right? So how is he not a Hall of Famer, right? How's Carmelo Anthony not a Hall of Famer? How's Carmelo Anthony the reason why Phil Jackson do his failed draft picks, failed trades, and his negative bias towards Carmelo Anthony? Answer that question, right? You talk about Carmelo Anthony plays defense, but let me ask you this. What person in the NBA actually plays defense? There's only a handful of people in the NBA that plays defense. So that's your only argument. You can't refute anything else I'm saying. The only thing you can just point to is his defense. But I'm going to ask you this. What person in the NBA is playing defense now? So get out of here with that, man. Get out of here. Get out of here. That's the only thing you can point to. Oh, man, Carmelo Anthony don't play no defense. But you still can't answer the question of what NBA player plays defense nowadays. There's only a handful of people in the NBA that plays defense. Huh? You pivoted his defense, but you can't answer the question about why Phil Jackson didn't put the pieces around him for the Knicks to win, despite the fact the Knicks were going to the playoffs before Phil Jackson got there. You still ain't answer that question though. You just want to point to the defense. Carmelo Anthony, he was a defensive liability, right? And like I said before, it's only a handful of people in the NBA that plays defense, right? You did. Okay, you did. I just pointed out the fact that the dude signed a 5-year, $124 million extension. So yeah, you did have money for him. So if you didn't have money, why'd you sign to that extension then? If you didn't have the money, huh? Because you did have the money. Now I put a link in the chat room on White Falcon, so you can come on in and try to debate me on this if you want. Well, why should Carmelo Anthony take a pay cut? Huh? Why should he take a pay cut? So now you pocket watching. Huh? Why you take a pay cut? Look, I put the link in the chat room. You can come on in and debate me about this, right? Don't talk. Don't type no more. Talk. Come on in and debate me man to man. I open the floor for you to come in and state your case, but don't type no more. I gave you the opportunity. I gave you the flow. I will give you all. I'm gonna let you come in and do all the capping you want to cap for, right? All you gotta do is click that link. Come on in. We can talk about it. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect. No animosity. No beef. We come in and debate this like men. I don't bite. Trust me, I don't bite. And connect your microphone so you get the pop up on the internet on online. Allow I need you to allow your cam and mic so I can add you to the stream. So you see that pop up, hit allow, and then I can let you in. I need you to connect your mic. I can't let you in without you connecting your mic and your cam. I need you to connect your mic and cam so I can let you in. You still there? Hey, come back. Click the link again and then come back. Click the link and then come back. But yeah, man, discussing what how Phil Jackson treated Carmelo Anthony, man, disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. For real. I give you a couple more minutes, man, and then I gotta bounce. So I give you a couple more minutes to come on in here and debate me on why you disagree with my take on Phil Jackson being the actual blame for why the Knicks didn't do well during this tenure, right? Because the only thing he can talk about is the defense. Nobody ever said that Melo was an elite defender, right? No one ever said that. Going once, going twice. No? All right. Well, hey, I appreciate y'all for viewing the video. Smash the like, hit the subscribe, man. You know, I appreciate y'all for being up here this morning as we're cooking on Phil Jackson. You know, basically trying to put on deflection tactics for why he failed as a president of basketball operations. It had nothing to do with Carmelo Anthony. It had everything to do with Phil Jackson and his negative bias towards him, right? So if you're not subscribed to this channel, please hit the subscribe button. Also, hit the like button. Like button's for free 99. If you want to donate to the channel, there's my PayPal, there's my Cash App. And I really do appreciate y'all for taking the time out your busy day to view the content. So smash the like and subscribe, man. This your boy. Scream at me.